Picture this. Your child has been asking for screen time for the past 20 minutes. You have said no every single time, and then something strange happens. Instead of giving up, they get louder, more intense, more relentless. The crying escalates. The negotiating gets more creative. The meltdown reaches a level you did not think was humanly possible for someone who only weighs 40 pounds. And in that moment, most parents do one of two things. They either hold the line and feel like they are somehow torturing their child, or they give in just to restore peace, and then feel guilty about it for the rest of the evening. Here is what nobody tells you. That explosion of bad behavior you just witnessed is not a sign that your child is broken, manipulative, or out of control. It is actually a sign that their brain is working exactly the way a human brain is supposed to work. There is a specific psychological principle that explains not just that moment, but roughly 90% of the difficult behavior patterns parents struggle with every single day. And once you understand it, you will never look at a tantrum, a refusal, or a power struggle the same way again. Let us start with the foundation. Every behavior your child repeats, they repeat because it has worked before. This is not a parenting opinion. This is one of the most well-established findings in all of behavioral science. Behaviors that produce a desired outcome get reinforced. Behaviors that produce nothing eventually fade away. Simple enough, right? But here is where it gets interesting, and where most parents get completely blindsided. When a behavior that used to work suddenly stops working, the brain does not immediately accept that. Instead, it does the opposite of what you would expect. It tries harder. It escalates. It throws everything it has at the problem before it finally accepts that the strategy is no longer effective. Scientists who study behavior call this an extinction burst. Think of it like a vending machine. You press the button, the snack does not come out. Do you walk away calmly? Almost nobody does. You press the button again, then harder. Maybe you press it 3 or 4 times in rapid succession. You might even shake the machine a little. That is your brain doing exactly what your child's brain does during a meltdown. It is not irrationality. It is a deeply wired survival mechanism that says, this strategy has worked before, so let me try it with more intensity before I give up on it entirely. Now here is why this matters so much for you as a parent. When you understand that escalating behavior is a predictable, neurologically driven response to a boundary being held, it completely reframes what you are experiencing. That peak moment of the tantrum, the point where your child is at their absolute worst, is not a sign that your approach is failing. It is actually a sign that it is working. The behavior is escalating because the old strategy is losing its power. The brain is making one final push before it begins to accept the new reality. The problem is that most parents, understandably, interpret that peak as a signal to intervene, to soothe, to negotiate, to give in, or to change course. And the moment they do, something devastating happens from a behavioral standpoint. The child's brain learns that escalating to that level is exactly what it takes to get the desired result. The bar just got raised. The next extinction burst will start where this one peaked. Over weeks and months, this is how patterns of extreme behavior develop in otherwise healthy children. It is not a character flaw. It is a learning loop that parents accidentally reinforce with the best of intentions. But understanding what not to do is only half the picture. The other half is about structuring your child's environment so that desirable behaviors become the natural path to what they want. Behavioral scientists discovered decades ago that high-probability behaviors, meaning things a child already wants to do, can be used to reinforce low-probability behaviors, meaning things they are reluctant to do. In practical terms, this means that access to preferred activities should consistently follow the completion of less preferred ones, not as a punishment system, not as a bribe, but as a predictable, reliable structure that the child's brain can learn to anticipate and work within. When you do your homework, then you get your screen time. When you finish dinner, then we can have dessert. When you get dressed, then we can go to the park. The sequence matters enormously. The child is not being denied what they want. They are being shown the reliable path to get it. And over time, their brain stops fighting the structure because the structure consistently delivers. The resistance fades not because you forced it to, but because the child's own motivation system learned to work with the sequence rather than against it. So what does this actually look like in real life? First, identify the behaviors you want to see more of, and pair them consistently with access to something your child genuinely values. Keep the sequence short, clear, and achievable. Second, when you hold a boundary and the behavior escalates, remind yourself of the vending machine. You are watching the extinction burst happen in real time. Stay calm, stay consistent, and do not change the outcome at the peak. Third, be patient with the timeline. Behavioral patterns that took months to develop do not disappear after one or two consistent responses. You are essentially teaching your child's brain a new map of how the world works. That takes repetition. It takes predictability. And it takes a parent who understands that the storm is not a sign of failure. It is the last gasp of an old pattern making way for a new one. The science is clear. The behavior makes sense. And now, so does your path forward.